Okay, so it's Selaelo.
Selaelo, okay. How did you get into social media?
Yo, it's actually by chance, weirdly enough. So when I was at AAA, my last year, so in your final year, you have to choose certain majors, right? So you get, I think, two majors for free, if that makes any sense. And then if you want to add extra classes for an extra major, you have to pay for it, right? So, dude, AAA is like almost 40,000 a pop at the time. So I didn't feel comfortable asking my family to give me more money just because I wanted to add a major. And luckily, I had an amazing lecturer. His name was Walter Pike, the late Walter Pike.
I used to look up to Walter when I was in varsity because he wrote a lot of articles and pieces. So he really inspired.
Oh, no, Walter's a legend. God bless his soul. So I was just like, yo, dude, can I sit in my classes? Obviously, I wouldn't get scored or anything like that, but I'm really interested. So I fell in love with it. Crazy. Like I did digital with Walter at the school. Graduated and first started in MTV. At the time, they were setting up the social pages and stuff. So I came in and headed that up. So it became something that I took on, and I've been into it since. And this is like.
And right now, where are you actually working? So I didn't even ask you that question. So where are you actually working?
At the moment, I work at Black Powder as a digital strategist.
Okay, and Black Powder is
an agency.
Okay, cool. And you guys do more entertainment. What is your focus?
I mean, it's a multifaceted agency. So we do digital, PR, above the line. So it's a typical advertising agency in the shores of South Africa. Yeah.
Businesses and personal brands and influencers, is it important for them to show up every day?
No. The short answer is no. So if you're trying to grow an identity on social media, it's very important for you to do the groundwork of getting your content out for people to know what you're about, right? Because our attention span is very low. And if I go on your page and it's new and there's like three posts that you've put up, I still don't have an idea of what it is that you do outside of putting your bio, right? And people put the pretty picture in the bio, right? It's like, oh, I'm great. There's one that I hate so much. It's like, I'm a social media guru. No, you can't be, right? And it was at the time when social media was still new. So you couldn't have been a guru, right? But if you're establishing a personal brand, it's very important for your audience to know who you are, what you're about, and what your opinions on certain things are, right? And what look or narrative you're trying to take. But for brands, bigger brands, it's not important for them to be there all the time. The thing is, we've moved away from the structure of social media being that brands talk at people, but rather with people. So when you're looking to establish, and that way it makes it easier for you to find your niche, like the target, your door that you're trying to fit yourself into.
Of like having anxiety or not wanting to post because you feel pressure, do you ever go through those things?
We are finding ourselves having to engage with individuals that curate their lives so much that they don't even get to enjoy them. So I don't get anxious whether I post or not. I mean, if you look at my feed, I post random stuff. Like there's not even like you wouldn't even be able. You will tell that I'm a human being who eats, drinks, likes going out. It's not fun anymore. Like social settings are not fun anymore. And the weird thing is that with this obsession and this anxiety, bombarded life of lockdown, people are anxious because they can't be out to show off to everyone. It's very weird. Like, so we are enjoying being home because it's the safest thing to do. But the minute we're let out, people are going out, posting, trying to show off this amazing lives that they live. But if you think about it, it's like, you all are just
How do you feel about people who post negative feelings on social media? Because those are like one of the things that do affect us. And that's also in a means of like comments, DMs, like we deal with these all the time. How do you?
So by negative, do you mean in a,
people
if
going
I'm
out of their
feeling
way,
bad?
People going out of their way to be mean. And
Not that depression started now. The
mm,
fact that
evolved.
we have contact to each other now. So I think you, as Puleng, I now feel like I know you.
Mm.
This age that we're in, this digital age that we're in, is highly displaying levels of self-esteem to epic proportions. Right?
I agree with you. I see it especially
if you can't say it to my face with your chest, I have no business being affected by whatever negative thing you have to say behind Twitter fingers or Instagram fingers. Data is expensive in South Africa, Puleng, right? People are not using it for they're not using the internet for the information hub
to educate
that it is,
themselves.
for the beauty of information that stands, within the internet and the different facets of information, that the clusters of information. To type something negative in something that I'm posting as a feel-good thing to share with the world, because I feel like it might touch someone in a positive way, to make them feel like not all is bad with the world. For you to want to be the rotten apple in relation to what I'm trying to do with just posting a mere picture, it says a whole lot about the type of person you are. And chances are people keep doing these things because they know that the chances of us bumping into them wherever are very, very slim. Like, remember, I don't know if you remember the time when tours were a thing on Twitter. People used to war, have wars on Twitter.
It was much earlier.
People used to fight.
Yes, I remember. It was a thing.
When Twitter was starting, people used to fight like all day. I'm just like, yo, dude, don't you have jobs? I even say, don't you have jobs, in like, and not in a negative sense, but like, not a job as like a 9 to 5, but productivity. Read a book, inform yourself. Things obviously we will never agree on: sex, religion, sexuality, politics, and we will always have a difference in opinion. And unfortunately, with Twitter, we've got 280 characters at a time to have an opinion. And once somebody sees it, people run away with it and then add their own thoughts to it. And before you know it, it's a wildfire. Influencers apologize, not because sometimes they mean it, sometimes they don't. But influencers normally apologize because they're in the bag. And the client and the PR team is sitting there, oh my God, you've been paid half the money. So you're not apologizing, and you don't mean it. Right? Because chances are down the line we're gonna catch you with the Twitter fingers saying the same things, and you don't mean it. Right? Because chances are down the line we're gonna catch you with the Twitter fingers saying the same things.
Yes. Like, how do we move away from just wanting that validation?
Make therapy cheaper and accessible. I know it sounds, like a weird answer, but if you get to think about it, right? The validation that comes with it's attention seeking. It's a disservice to oneself. The only attention you get is from social media streets, and it gets addictive. Addictive in the sense that you dehumanize your surroundings. Give you an example. You and I go to dinner. 2 more friends join us. The waiter comes. He stands or she stands there, but we are not connecting with this person. That is to be of service to both of us, or all of us as well. Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes comes. And mind you, he's serving other tables, this person. They're serving another table or other tables. Every 5 minutes when they come back, we haven't even had a chance to look at the menu.
Because you're on your phone.
Half the time, you're on your phone, right? And I read somewhere where someone was speaking about this, and they were like, so the addiction to social media, we actually don't realize how detrimental it is to our well-being and our health and those around us. Because my thing is, we're half-assing ourselves. And the reason why I'm saying that is that I'm doing myself a disservice of disconnecting from my people that are physically here, who took the time out to come and be with me, right? That, sometimes we're now starting to show up for dinners and lunches and dates just for physically be there with the person. But I'm not there because I'm on my phone. I'm trying to rush. I'm looking at my phone. I'm looking at the time. I'm doing this. I'm doing all sorts of things, right? But the issue is that we either go online to validate ourselves that we're like, Puleng is having a shit day. Thank God I see him. Or Puleng is also trying to go online to show people that I'm having a good day. That time it's a depressive state that she's in. We're pressuring ourselves to be perfectionists for strangers.
But I also see, because we work with people who want to get into social media and they want to be influencers and content creators, and there's just so many things to do on the internet and make money on the internet. Brands will only work with specific influencers. And to bring me to my point, like they'll work with influencers that lean on luxury, or they would have better equipment to do content. And then you get your average Joe who just has her phone trying to get to that point.
African marketers are messing up the influencer marketing as a thing. And the reason for that is that we go from micro influencers, macro MA, right? People with 20,000 followers, 50,000 followers, right? But not understanding the journey that got them to those numbers. It's highly unlikely that if I followed someone's page because they were funny, and then after a week I go to their page and they're not funny anymore and unfollow them. No, chances are I won't even see their face on my feed until maybe I see them in Explorer. I was like, oh, I'm actually following this person, right? So we don't do follow-ups of our follow, if that makes any sense. So brands are messing it up by saying that, hey, get this influencer in, they're a source of influence. No, influencers don't necessarily get sales. They don't. Conversion rates with influencers are super low. If maybe you were saying people can follow your page, man, you can use influencers and still not get follower growth on your accounts, right? But what do? The influencers, they beg the cash. So you're right. We are literally and that's why I don't get too much into influencer marketing. And the reason for it is that a lot of people are clowning for clout to get followers, to be seen as influencers.
They're doing the most.
And you're gonna waste clients' budget trying to get. People are doing the most, bro. People are doing the most.
I also feel like the TikTok platform allows people to express themselves a little bit better than they would on Instagram. Instagram, I feel like everything's so short-lived.
I read somewhere now, because Instagram is now becoming a mall. Like the e-commerce is great, but it's now becoming a mall. I read an article recently where they're not an image sharing platform, but we knew it to be that. So in the innovations of social media platforms, as marketers, it becomes very difficult for us to find one that will work. So that's why we have to always evolve, right? So now we know Instagram, when client says I want visuals and selling, we like Instagram because like e-commerce is great. But TikTok is also going to develop an e-commerce.
Yeah.
They're actually going into it if they haven't started. So on Instagram, you can be the Instagram fame and clown with the numbers, but it's wastage if it doesn't mean anything.
Takeaways I'm getting from our conversation is very much that people need to have a purpose when they are online.
We're potentially endangering ourselves, our lives for this life. And for us, as marketers, I'm like in the respect that, or in the sense that I can tune out because I knock off. Right. And I decide to engage with social media at my own leisure when I feel like it.
But I think this conversation really even opened my eyes to be like, we're not alone when it comes to how we feel about social media.
I was once having a conversation with someone in relation to social media and the use of it and us as people, right? And I was saying that put social media, the need to trend and clout and clownish behavior, and Moby journals. Moby journals are mobile journalists. So we've passed the stage where news reports, we need to wait for a journalist to be driven or transported to the scene. What. If I'm there, I'm reporting.
You are the
they call it Moby journal. Yeah, they call it. We lack the moral obligation of being our brother's keepers.
I think we're gonna have to teach ourselves how to use social media a bit better over the years. And I hope with people getting more information and also us talking about these issues and challenges, like this must be something that we can do. Which apps do you frequently use on your phone as a social media digital content creator?
So thank goodness for people that have, for developers for coming up with things like Falcon and Sprout Social, Hootsuite, have to pay homage to Hootsuite. So those are the ones that I use mostly for work. But outside of that, in my personal capacity, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. To people that are falling in love with this thing, getting into it, would be that join communities, join groups, pages that are of the same level. They're topical. They bring social media groups, or social media marketers or strategists or digital people or creatives. There's a big community that exists of these forums on the web or on Facebook, right? I'm connected to some of them. So that's where you go to get the information. You're not trying to, to figure it out by yourself or lose your mind trying to figure it out. Whereas there's a community of people that are willing to ask questions, they're willing to answer questions.